What if nobody told you the war was over and you kept fighting for 29 years alone? This is not fiction. This happened. One man, one jungle, one unbreakable order. His name was Hiroo Onoda, and his story defies every limit of human endurance and belief. Born March 19, 1922, in Kamikawa Village, Wakayama Prefecture, Japan, the fourth son. Japan in the 1930s demanded sacrifice, discipline, and absolute loyalty above all individual desires. At 17, Onoda traveled to Wuhan, China, working for the Tajima Yoko Trading Company. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941 ended civilian life for millions of Japanese men. Onoda was conscripted into the Imperial Japanese Army in 1942 and excelled immediately as a soldier. His intelligence and skill caught the Army's attention, earning him a place at Nakano School. Nakano School was Japan's most elite intelligence institution, training saboteurs, spies, and guerrillas. Unlike standard Japanese soldiers, Nakano graduates were explicitly ordered never to commit suicide. Stay alive at all costs. Fight on. We will come back for you, commanders told every Nakano graduate. December 26, 1944. Second Lieutenant Onoda was assigned to Lubang Island in the Philippines. Lubang Island, 30 kilometers long, rugged, forested, 93 miles southwest of Manila. Onoda's orders: destroy the airstrip, destroy the pier, deny the island to Allied forces completely. Senior officers on Lubang outranked Onoda and refused to let him carry out his sabotage mission. February 28, 1945. American and Filipino forces landed on Lubang and overwhelmed Japanese defenders fast. Most Japanese defenders on Lubang were killed or surrendered within days of the Allied landing. Before escaping, Major Taniguchi gave Onoda the order that would define his entire remaining life. You are absolutely forbidden to die by your own hand. We will come back for you. Fight on. Onoda gathered 3 surviving soldiers and retreated deep into the mountains of Lubang Island. August 15, 1945. Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's unconditional surrender to the entire world. On Lubang Island, Onoda noticed the distant gunfire had stopped, but suspected nothing had changed. October 1945. The 4 men found a handwritten note. The war ended on August 15. Come down. The men studied the note carefully and concluded it was Allied propaganda, a trap to lure them out. Late 1945. Leaflets signed by General Yamashita ordering all troops to surrender were also dismissed. Onoda's reasoning was airtight. Real orders come only from your commanding officer, not from paper. For months, they raided farms, stole rice, and survived on coconuts, bananas, and slaughtered cattle. They moved camp every few days, always staying ahead of Filipino police and search parties hunting them. In 1947, families of the missing men had photographs dropped over the island by low-flying aircraft. Onoda found photographs of his own family, but concluded the buildings looked wrong, fabricated by the enemy. His trained mind turned every piece of evidence against itself. The enemy would think of everything he thought. During the Korean War, jet aircraft streaked overhead. Onoda believed it was a Japanese counteroffensive beginning. Leaflets dropped with Japanese newspaper pages were dismissed as clever Allied forgeries and propaganda tricks. February 1952. Letters from each soldier's own family, pleading surrender, were dropped onto the island. Onoda's counter-argument: if Japan truly surrendered, why would search parties still be firing at them? The logic was unbreakable from inside. Surrender orders are fake. Being shot at confirms the war is real. Onoda's Nakano School training made him better at interrogating evidence than any ordinary soldier could be. They survived on bananas and coconuts in the wet season, rice raids, and cattle in the dry months. Year after year, their world shrank to this island, their war becoming a private, unending reality. September 1949. Private Yuichi Akatsu quietly slipped away from the group, alone into the jungle. After 6 months alone in the jungle, Akatsu surrendered to Filipino forces in March 1950. When Onoda learned Akatsu had surrendered, he did not grieve. He concluded it was an act of betrayal. 3 men now, 3 rifles, 1 mission. The jungle closed around them tighter with each season. June 1953. Shimada was shot in the leg during a confrontation with local fishermen on the beach. Onoda personally nursed Shimada's wound for weeks, keeping him alive through the jungle's wet season. May 7, 1954. Corporal Shoichi Shimada was shot and killed by a Philippine Army patrol on the island. Shimada's death did not break Onoda. It hardened him. 2 remained, and the mission continued unchanged. 2 men, 2 rifles, and nearly a decade of shared isolation. Onoda and Kozuka formed an unbreakable bond. The Japanese government officially declared Hiroo Onoda legally dead in 1959. He was very much alive. Through the 1960s, they patrolled, raided, and shot at islanders, convinced every civilian was an enemy agent. Over the years, approximately 30 Filipino civilians were killed in skirmishes with the hidden Japanese soldiers. Onoda's diary recorded every skirmish, every raid, and every piece of evidence he had rejected as false. He repaired his uniform so many times that almost none of the original fabric remained by the 1970s. October 19, 1972, Kozuka was shot and killed by Philippine police while burning farmers' harvested rice. He ran. He ran deep into the mountains of Lubang and did not stop until the jungle swallowed him whole. At 50 years old, he was alone, the last Japanese soldier still at war anywhere in the world. News of Kozuka's death reached Japan. The public was astonished. Onoda was still out there, still fighting. Japan organized multiple search parties, but Onoda evaded every single team sent to find him on Lubang. February 1974, a young Japanese adventurer named Norio Suzuki arrived on Lubang with a peculiar mission. Suzuki told friends he was searching for 3 things: Lieutenant Onoda, a panda, and the abominable snowman. After 4 days of searching, Suzuki found Onoda, and Onoda found Suzuki, which is not the same thing. The Emperor and all of Japan are worried about you, Suzuki said. Onoda slowly lowered his rifle. Onoda acknowledged Suzuki but refused to surrender. His orders stood until a superior officer relieved him directly. Suzuki returned to Japan with photographs. Proof Onoda was alive. The government mobilized immediately. The government located Onoda's former commander, Major Taniguchi, now a civilian bookseller in rural Japan. Taniguchi agreed immediately and flew to the Philippines to fulfill a 30-year-old promise to his soldier. March 9, 1974. In a jungle clearing on Lubang, Taniguchi met Onoda for the first time in 29 years. Taniguchi read the official order aloud. All military activity is to cease immediately. You are relieved of duty. Onoda later said that in that moment, he felt the whole 30 years collapse into a single, unbearable understanding. March 10, 1974. Onoda formally surrendered at Lubang's radar base, his rifle still fully operational after decades. March 11, 1974. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos held a formal surrender ceremony at Malacañang Palace. Marcos pardoned Onoda for all crimes committed while he believed he was at war. The decision was not unanimous. He had held out for 10,416 days, 28 years, 6 months, and 8 days after Japan's formal surrender in 1945. He flew to Tokyo wearing his 30-year-old uniform. 8,000 people waited at the airport to greet him. Japan celebrated him as the embodiment of loyalty and duty. Critics pointed to the 30 dead Filipino civilians. Onoda was disturbed by modern Japan, its prosperity, its changed values, its distance from the world he had known. He published his memoir, No Surrender, My 30-Year War, which became an immediate bestseller across Japan. In April 1975, Onoda left Japan for Brazil, finding in cattle ranching the discipline his old world no longer offered. In 1984, troubled by Japan's youth, he returned and founded the Onoda Nature School in Fukushima Prefecture. In 1996, he returned to Lubang, apologized to its people, and donated $10,000 for island children's education. Hiroo Onoda died January 16, 2014, in Tokyo, age 91, from heart failure following pneumonia. He obeyed every order he was ever given, and that singular obedience became the greatest war story ever told.